Every cycle there's a pre-halving Bitcoin run. In 2017, BTC ran to $790. The halving occurred on the week of July 9, 2016. It took exactly 24 weeks from that halving to break that 790 high before things got parabolic. In the 2020 cycle, the pre-halving run ran to $13,860 before that vicious corona dump. But again, after the halving on May 11th, it took Bitcoin 24 weeks to break the pre-halving run high before things went vertical. In this cycle it was unique because that pre-halving run actually went on to make new all-time highs at almost 74,000. The halving this year occurred on the week of April 19th, and if we keep following that same pattern, 24 weeks away would be the week of October 7th. And so if history repeats, could we finally see the break and expansion past that 74K level? What's great is we'll find out fairly soon, but yet again we're seeing another piece of data and history hinting at a bullish October and Q4. If you're new around here, make sure you're subscribed for more videos like this, and sign up to our exchange partners JumpX and CoinW with links in description. JumpX is a brand new non-KYC exchange offering 0% trading fees on all spot pairs, a fee discount on all futures trades with an additional fee rebate on each of those trades, and the highest deposit bonuses in the entire space. CoinW is also non-KYC, offering 0% maker fees on all trades and a literal free $50 for just signing up, and then another $50 for making one trade. Some of you have been wondering about the idea of a left-translated cycle top, and if that idea is still on the table. If you're unaware, an LT top for this cycle would be if Bitcoin tops around November or sooner. A crazy notion and not one many are accustomed to thinking. That would be around 6 to 8 weeks from now. You may be saying there's no way we top in 6 to 8 weeks, that's not enough time. But BTC has put in crazier runs before. In the 2021 cycle, Bitcoin put up multiple 100% plus runs within that time period. Even in this one, we've seen a 91% run within 7 weeks. If this is the final low before that run, then 97% is your 100k Bitcoin. A 138% run in 4 weeks like this one here puts it at 125,000. I'm not cheering for this idea. In fact, I would definitively say I don't want a left-translated top. I hold altcoins who'd fare much better off in a normal healthy run that goes deep into next year. But everyone knows about the traditional top that would come in about the second half of 2025. That idea hasn't gone anywhere. I feel our responsibility is to along the way constantly invalidate that thesis, not because we don't want it, but so that we don't get caught off guard by other situations that could be potentially taking place. Point in case being, if we rip to a 6-figure Bitcoin in the next month and a half, before you start going on the Porsche configurator and thinking you're a genius, and listening to everyone about how this is all just the beginning, at least you out of all people can say to yourself, you know what, maybe something else is going on here. Remember, the Fed may have cut but also could have showed their hand, and perhaps a sense of urgency going for the 50 basis points, and now the market's predicting another 50 in November. I can spend hours pointing out all the macro data, how the Fed is behind the curve, inflation being well under control, and unemployment looking like it could put in one of those vertical angles again. And you guys know how bullish I am. Altcoins have had a nice pop recently, TAO getting as close as 20% away from highs within just days. But with the amount of euphoria and conviction and guarantees of success I'm seeing on the timelines right now, would it not make sense to send this up for one final leg, destroying all bears? And right when bulls think their conviction has paid off, to mark the top for this cycle, letting what would be practically no one take profits while we're there, and to let all these nervy macro indicators realize themselves. Again, do I want this? Not at all. We're just playing the contrarian along the way. But every single one of my liquid dollars is allocated, because what you don't want to be is rational in a bull market if that's what we're truly getting. Speaking of which, another thing I want to address is token unlocks, as a lot of news cycle crypto are about to undergo their harshest unlock periods yet. Celestia has begun what will be almost a year long of massive amounts of tokens hitting the markets. The talk of the town these past 2 weeks, Sui is also about to start dumping tokens like crazy. Aptos, another one, Starknet, you name it. I bring this up because if that October season hits, I don't think these token unlocks will matter too much. Now in bear markets or sideways markets, inflation absolutely destroys so many of these crypto in a way they'll probably never recover from. But in a bull market, from what I've seen, token unlocks, no matter the amount, become fairly negligible. For instance, last cycle with Avalanche, between July and November 2021, AVAX went from $11 to $144, but at the same same time it was undergoing some of the harshest parts of its unlock schedule. Same thing with Solana going from $1 to $2.60 within a year starting December 2020. Well, that year of 2021 is when most SOL was emitted. All in all, if we go sideways or down for a prolonged period of time, it's something extremely important to consider. But in a full-blown bull, I wouldn't worry about emissions. Some other notable things going on are OpenTensor recently announced how a new subnet coming to the network will be focused on GPU rental services. Here's a clip by Const explaining the significance of this.
It's one of the first subnets that makes direct sense. There's a lot of moving parts here, but I would say that in one fell swoop, you've just cut out a large number of other GPU providing crypto projects in the space with something that's much more fluid, direct, decentralized, and working on BitTensor, which is really cool.
Basically, it's a new compute subnet where here's H100, for example. If I want to rent that, we'll just do H100 test for the pod. Right now, it's a default PyTorch template. Same thing as basically all of the other cloud compute providers. We just make it super simple. And it gives you the SSH connection command to run here. And we just run that. Sure you can see here when we run NVIDIA SMI, there's two H100s here that I have full access to now, straight from the miners on the subnet.
A lot of people are now saying that something like a render has just become a subnet. About a year ago, Const mentioned how render should become a BitTensor subnet, and this was quite the controversial remark. But here we are, and a system quite similar to it has in fact done so. I tweeted this back on March 9th, the fact that if you're a computing project that doesn't move to TAO, another will and displace you. I wasn't expecting this to become so literal so soon, but a render equivalent just became a subnet, and we'll see if the rest pans out. I hold render as well, and not a small bag. For the rest of this cycle it shouldn't be too much of a concern. But there may come a point where I need to seriously reconsider my allocations and shuffle things around. Also, I want to give an update on something I learned recently. A couple videos ago I made one on my microcap bets for this cycle, and since then the moves some of them have made have been astonishing. Myria went up 133%, OXO up 118%, 01 Labs up 214%, C2 Fund 80%, Carrot 160%, Crown 150%, and a few others making huge moves within just a couple weeks. As glad as I am to have made these calls, and as well as I expect them to keep doing in a bull market, I feel I may have made one mistake. You see, the idea with microcaps has traditionally been that liquidity rotates thereafter, but this time around we had these quick 2 to 4x's occur, with Bitcoin barely making its first higher high. I think what we're seeing here is the average crypto investor realizing that if they want the biggest gains, they have to skip to the lowest market cap stuff. It's no longer how it was in previous cycles where Bitcoin ran then ETH then altcoins. Now people are skipping straight to the bottom of the barrel on any sort of tangible crypto move. The lesson to learn from this is that with microcaps all its benefits still exist. They still will give you the biggest returns in the entire space. But the opportunity to wait for them, I feel, is no longer viable. If you want to play the microcap game and buy those bottoms, you kind of have to do so right away and not further along in the market. So as happy as I am with those gains, I can't take too much credit because I did mention the idea of waiting a bit. Netmind token I will take credit for, however, as this I mentioned I was buying and was not waiting at those lows before going up 160%. If you like these market updates sort of videos, let me know and I'll make more. So make sure you're subbed and liking for that. Check out those exchange links in the description for all your trading needs, and I will see you soon, hopefully.